Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to explain some important formulas on power systems and the topic sag and tension calculations and overhead line insulators. In that first one, we'll see the formulas on sag and tension calculations. We know that sag in the transmission line that can be formed by connecting a transmission line between the two supports. The shape of this transmission line between the two supports take a catenary curve, and this we can form a sag. And this sag that can be defined as it is the vertical difference. It is the vertical difference between the level of supports to the minimum point or the lowest point on the conductor. So this difference we can call as sag. So this is the level of support. That means at this point we are connecting a transmission line. So A and B. So and this is the lowest point on the conductor. Therefore, the difference between these two is called sag. And the formula for sag that can be given by S is equal to WL square by 8T, where W is called weight per unit length on the conductor and L is the length of span. Usually it is the difference between the distance between the two supports. Okay, T is the tension in the conductor. So the weight of the transmission line, generally it is acting downwards. So note this formula is applicable for equal supports. That means with respect to ground, the two supports are at equal level. But when going for unequal supports, that means generally this can be happen in the hilly areas and the ground is not flattened surface. So then in such case, though the towers are of equal height, there is a difference in the level for the two supports. So therefore here in this picture we can observe, so tower A and tower B are placed at two different levels. Therefore the conductor is connected in such a manner, so the sag appears at this point O. So when compared to the previous case, in the previous case the sag that can be happened exactly at the midpoint of the transmission, at the exact midpoint of the supports, that is span length. If L is the total length, span length, so at a distance L by 2 from conductor A, the sag that is happened here. That's why at L by 2 and L by 2, the two equal span lengths, half of the span length, the sag is formed. But here for unequal heights, the span length is the sag appears at a different different place when compared to the previous case. So if L is the span length, that is a distance between the two supports, at a distance of x1 from the conductor A, the sag point is happened here. So similarly at distance of x2 here with respect to the tower B, a sag point is happened for tower B. So here x1 and x2 here both are not equal. Okay, so we have to calculate those two values. Okay, that's why here we are getting two sags here, S1 and S2, and H is the difference between the two sags. Therefore S2 minus S1 we can call this difference as H, that is level of the difference in the sags. Okay, so here the two sags S1 and S2 that can be given by these two formulas, Wx1 square by 2t and Wx2 square by 2t, where x1 and x2 are given by these two formulas, L by 2 minus Th by WL, L by 2 plus Th by WL, where L is the length, span length, T is the tension in the conductor, H is the difference between the two supports, S2 minus S1, two sags, and W is the total weight of the conductor, and L is the span length here again. Okay, so here note that x1 plus x2 is equal to L. Next, effect of wind and ice. So generally the transmission line is subjected to open atmosphere. So in the windy seasons or in winter seasons, there is a formation of ice coating on the conductor and some wind force that is acting on the transmission line. In such condition, over the transmission line, some ice that can be accumulated on the surface of the conductor. So this will increase the diameter of the conductor by T. And here also we have T, therefore the total diameter that can be increased by 2T. The total diameter of the conductor that is increased by D plus 2T. Total diameter becomes D plus 2T, where T is the thickness of the ice coating. And because of the wind, so the conductor position that can be changed. Okay, so from these two figures we can observe that the ice loading, the weight of ice that is acting downwards and the weight of wind that is acting horizontally. Okay, therefore, if you add the two forces in addition to the weight force of the conductor, so the total weight becomes W plus WW, that is acting downwards, and the wind force that is acting horizontally. The resultant weight that is given by this vector addition of the two weights. Therefore, here theta is the angle between the resultant weight and the weight of the wind plus weight of ice plus weight of conductor. So now coming to the formulas, here that sag on the conductor that can be given by Wt L square by 2T. Okay, here Wt nothing but the total weight of the conductor by considering ice as well as wind in addition to the weight of conductor. So therefore the total weight that can be given by this formula root over W plus W whole square plus WW square, where Wi is the weight of ice that is given by this formula, so density into volume per unit length. So finally, so after simplification, so volume nothing but area into length. So take the length value as 1. So pi by 4 into d plus 2t whole square minus d square. This is the area. So we know that pi by 4 d square, pi r square nothing but pi by 4 d square is the area, where d is the actual distance. So d plus 2t is nothing but total diameter, and d nothing but this conductor diameter. So therefore weight of ice we have to calculate, therefore d plus 2t whole square minus d square into 1. So after simplification, so weight of ice we can get a density into pi t into d plus t. Similarly, weight of wind that can be given by this formula, so wind force per unit length that can be given, so pressure per unit area into projected area per unit length. So that can be given by this formula, so wind pressure per unit length per unit area into d plus 2t into 1. So after calculating the weight of ice and weight of wind by putting these two formulas in this weight equation, so we will get the total weight of the transmission line. Next, the vertical sag that can be given by this formula, so vertical sag S into cos theta. So here by applying a cos theta here, we are getting this vertical sag, that is S cos theta. Similarly, the conductor sets itself in a plane at an angle theta to the vertical, that is by applying the tan theta from this phasor diagram. So apply tan theta here. So tan theta means opposite by adjacent. So opposite is nothing but WW, adjacent is nothing but W plus WY. Therefore tan theta becomes WW by W plus WI. So these are the formulas regarding for sag calculations. Okay. So now coming to the insulators, we have insulators are generally classified into 4 types. So pin type, suspension type, strain type, and shackle type. So among the 4, generally we have the calculation for suspension type. So they're also called as string type or disc type. So here we are calculating the string efficiency for suspension type insulators. Okay. So potential distribution and string efficiency is the topic name. So if let us take we have 3 insulators which are suspended to the cross arm. So this is the tower. So this is the tower and this is a cross arm, and 3 discs which are suspended here. So by using metal links. So this is the position of the conductor at the bottom. So each and every disc experiencing its own capacitance called self capacitance given by capital C, and since the capacitance that is formed between the earth or tower to the metal link is C1, this is called shunt capacitance, and we have a relation between the self capacitance and shunt capacitance that is given by a term called K. K is equal to shunt capacitance by self capacitance, that is C1 by C. So that from this C1 is equal to K into C, where K is a fraction, its value may be 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.3, whatever it may be. So at some fraction of the self capacitance is called shunt capacitance. Shunt capacitance is mainly due to the formation of considering of earth or tower. Okay. So here in the absence of this self capacitance, shunt capacitance, in the absence of this shunt capacitance, the voltage distribution across all the discs will be uniform. That means all the discs are sharing the same amount of voltage. But because of the presence of shunt capacitance, the voltage distribution will become non-uniform. Therefore, V1, V2, V3, different voltage that can be set up by the different discs providing. So, V3 greater than, V2 greater than V1. So, where V1 is the voltage of the disc near the cross arm and V3 is the voltage of the disc near the conductor. So, from this relation we can say that voltage of the disc near the conductor sharing more amount of voltage when compared with the voltage of the disc near the cross arm. So, this make the insulator near the conductor subjected to more electrical stresses. So, it brings to damage to the insulator near the conductor. So, that is why it's always advantageous to make uniform voltage distribution by some methods of improving the string efficiency. So that will be discussed later. So, here for a 3 insulator string, so these are the voltages we are generally derived. So, V2 is equal to 1 plus k into V1 and V3 is equal to k square plus 3k plus 1 into V1. And if the string is having 4 insulators, then we are getting one more term in addition to these two. So, that is V4. V4 is equal to k cube plus 5k square plus 6k plus 1 into V1. So, generally the k value in the problem that is mentioned in the form of text. In the problem he directly mentioned take k value as 0.5. So in the problem he did not mention the k value directly. So, he generally given the k value in the form of text, that is the ratio of shunt capacitance to self capacitance is 0.1. The ratio of self capacitance to self capacitance is shunt capacitance to self capacitance value is 0.1 or 0.3. So, the other name for shunt capacitance is also called earth capacitance. So, earth capacitance or shunt capacitance both will be same because the tower generally assumed as a earth. So, that is why the C1 is formed between the metal link and tower. Therefore, shunt capacitance can also be called as earth capacitance. So, you have to understand the term and the k value should be always in the fraction. Remember that value. So, next the string efficiency can be calculated as total voltage across the string by N into voltage of the disc near the conductor. This is a very important formula for calculation of string efficiency. So, how to calculate the string efficiency means total voltage across the disc, voltage across the string, that means summation of all the voltages V1, V2, V3 and so on. How many number of discs are there, that many voltage we are getting. So, summation of all the voltage V1 plus V2 plus V3 and so on, some Vn say for n number of discs by, so n means total number of insulators or total number of discs in the string into voltage of the disc near the conductor. So, that means whatever the voltage here, in this case it is V3, therefore V3. So, total voltage is summation of 3 voltages V1 plus V2 plus V3 by N into V3. For example, if 4 insulators are there, therefore plus V4 by N becomes 4 there, so V becomes V4 here. So, this is the way to calculate the string efficiency. For this, you have to calculate V2, V3 and V4 for 4 insulators. So, summation of all the voltages, you get the total voltage across the string in terms of V1. You are getting some value here by V1 by N. N means it may be 4 or 3, depends on the number of insulators, into voltage of that is near the conductor, that is generally V4. So, this V4 also in terms of V1. So, therefore, this should be also some value into V1. So, this V1 get cancelled. If you multiply with 100, you will get the string efficiency. So, note that string efficiency value is more than 60 to 70 or sometimes 60 to 80, but it's not beyond 80. So, the main reason for the decrement in the string efficiency is the shunt capacitance only. In the absence of shunt capacitance, the string efficiency will be 100%. Okay. So, next, if you calculate the string efficiency for unequal voltages, so we are getting the efficiency is poor value. So, how to improve the string efficiency means by going the methods of improving the string efficiencies, that is by having larger cross arms and by grading of insulators and by using Gardering method, so we are getting string efficiency more than 80. Sometimes we are getting 92-93% also with the help of the grading method. Especially third method, Gardering method, we are getting the efficiency more than 90%. That's it. So these are the information regarding the insulators, and these are the formulas. Okay, these formulas are derived by applying the KCL at the nodes A, B, C. Suppose if guard ring is connected, so like this, so some formation of new capacitances here, C, let us take C1, C2, C3 here. So here the new currents will be I1 dash, I2 dash and I3 dash here. So here the new voltages will be formed here. So the voltages V2 and V3, V4 will not be these voltages. The voltages values will be changed for Gardering method. So we have to recalculate the voltages by applying KCLs at the node. Okay, that's it. So that can be do better by using the problem. So in the problem itself, by direct substitution, we get that complete answer. Okay, so we don't have any separate formulas for Gardering method. So for V2, V3 and V4, in Gardering method we don't have any separate formulas. So after giving the problem, in the problem itself, by applying the KCL and by putting the values, we can directly substitute those values and we can solve for the potential distribution and further string efficiency. That's it. Thank you so much.